Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Art of Being a Woman. I'm your host, Courtney, and today we are discussing the art of being unbothered. I am very excited to discuss this topic because being unbothered is very attractive. Not only is it attractive to other people, but it feels good to be someone that is unbothered by the things that we experience in life that would normally cause a reaction from us that we might not be so proud of. So, we are going to get into 4 steps, as always, that I'm taking from my Instagram account and my Threads account at She Is Artfully Woman, and we are going to break down how to really master the art of being unbothered. Before we dive in, I just want to remind you that just like with everything in life, it takes practice. It takes time to master things in life. So don't be hard on yourself if you try your best to be unbothered and you catch yourself slipping up from time to time. Awareness is definitely key. Every time you notice yourself reacting to things and you reflect and wish that perhaps you reacted a little bit less, keep that in mind because it will be your fuel and it'll be your motivation to be more cautious before reacting to life itself and to other people. The 4 steps we're getting into are the following. Step 1, focus only on what you can actually control. Step 2, trust yourself to handle anything life throws at you. Step 3, don't let temporary insecurity decide how you act. And step 4, accept that nothing lasts forever. Let's get straight into step 1. Focus only on what you can actually control. This is something that I talk about in multiple episodes on this podcast and in season 1. Control. What do we actually have control over in life? Not much, to be completely honest. We only have control over our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. Now, just to go a little deeper, emotions come and go. They're like weather. Sometimes we feel a wave of sadness, we feel a wave of excitement, and we're not in control of what's surfacing, but we're in control of how we react to these emotions. If we feel a wave of sadness and we lean into it and we dwell on it longer than we need to, that's a choice we're making. The same thing goes for our thoughts. We aren't necessarily in control of all the thoughts that cross our mind. I cover this more in depth in my ego series. All the intrusive thoughts that we all deal with on a daily basis is all the ego. It's all noise and distraction from our true voice, our intuition. But we are in control of the thoughts that we entertain and the thoughts that we focus on. Lastly, actions. Sometimes in life, we don't feel like we have choices. We feel as if there's usually a right and a wrong choice to make, and we must do what's right. But ultimately, we have a choice. And whether we feel like we have the freedom to choose or not, we do have the freedom to choose. For example, if you have a job that you really hate, but you go to work every single day because you need to pay your bills, it's still a choice you're making, even though you feel like you don't have a choice because you have to pay your bills. Now, everything else, other people, the things life throws at us, that is something that we have no control over. And not only do we not have control over these things, we don't always understand why the things that are out of our control happen. Sometimes we think it's our fault. If only we did something differently. If only we were more prepared. But that's truly ego talking, because the ego wants us to believe that we are in control of life and we are in control of reality, but we're not. The higher power is. God is. If before we were all born, we were given some pamphlet and some information as to how this world operates, and we were told what we have control over exactly and what we don't have control over exactly, we would be very calm when things happened outside of our control because we were told in advance that things are going to happen and you're going to be confused, but ride the wave because it's a part of life. The only difference is we don't really get a pamphlet when it comes to life. We have to figure it out on our own, and we do that through life experiences And we figure it out based on the information that other people share from their own life experiences. Really consider how you feel when you believe that you're in control of everything. It doesn't feel that good. It puts you in that mentality of a control freak almost. And it sounds harsh to say it that way, but trust me, I have been a control freak in my life before. You're constantly anxious and you micromanage details of your life because you think that if you are so good at managing things, nothing can go wrong. But things can always go wrong, quote unquote, and there's nothing that our preparation and our illusion of control can actually do for us. It just helps alleviate that anxiety that we feel about not truly having control over life completely. When we work on only focusing on ourselves and the things that we actually can control, no matter what, it allows us to become unbothered with the things that life throws our way. That doesn't mean that it's going to be easy necessarily. It does get easier over time, but in my opinion, the hardest part is surrendering that control, surrendering that need to have things always go your way. That is what really allows you to become more unbothered in your life. Step 2. Trust yourself to handle anything life throws at you. This ties in beautifully because ultimately we want to be unbothered when life throws chaotic things our way. And that's not always easy to do because sometimes we have plans for our future and we really believe that we know what's best for us. But what I always like to remind myself is that everything that life throws my way is for my highest good, whether I can wrap my head around it in the present moment or not. This is a belief that I have, and it's a belief that I reinforce every single time I'm going through something that is challenging and uncomfortable. What this belief does is it puts me in this mindset of trusting myself to find a solution to any and every problem I'm experiencing, no matter what. Because spiritually, there is nothing that we go through in life that we can't overcome. Everything that we go through that challenges us is meant to expand us and unlock more of our truest selves. But it's uncomfortable because it's asking us to step outside of what's familiar and trust the unknown, which is unpredictable and scary. The key here is trust, because how can we truly trust ourselves and trust anybody if we don't take that risk? It's not real trust if we need proof before we believe something. And that's something that I had a resistance with in my own life for a long time. I always lived by seeing is believing, but spiritually, it just doesn't work that way. It's completely backwards. When you believe, you start to see proof of your beliefs. So in order to feel more unbothered by life, you need to build that trust as much as possible, and you will see how life will just prove you right. You can be going through something chaotic, and you can have zero proof that you're going to find a solution to the chaos that you're experiencing, but you have trust that everything that life throws at you, you can handle. And I guarantee you that a solution will make itself known to you. Whether an idea pops in your head, someone comes to you and they are able to help you solve your problem, whatever the case may be. But it requires that trust first and that willingness to be uncomfortable with not being in control of how life is going to unfold. And then life can prove you right. Step 3, don't let temporary insecurity decide how you act. This is in relation to our one-to-one relationships with other people and how we can better be unbothered in these relationships. Not in a nonchalant way where we want to care less so that we don't get hurt, because I believe that is something that we do out of fear. I'm more focused on how to be unbothered when we're triggered in our one-to-one relationships. Because ultimately, when something triggers us, it doesn't really matter who says something or hits that nerve. Regardless, we're going to get triggered because it's something within us that we haven't resolved and come to terms with. So in order to be unbothered when someone is triggering us. We have to think long term, not short term. And it's hard to do that when we're in the heat of a moment and our emotions are heightened. The best and first thing you should do when you do feel triggered is to pause. Don't speak, just become aware of how you're feeling. That you're sensitive, someone hurt your feelings, and you might not react in a way that you would be proud of in the future. Perhaps temporarily you'll be proud of yourself. Perhaps you believe in that moment you need to put that person in their place. But even if you do decide to put that person in their place and go down that road of getting that temporary relief, it's not going to last. And you're still going to have that trigger. So the next time someone brings it up again, you're going to probably react similarly. The only way to break this pattern is by acting differently. And like I mentioned in step 1, we are in control of our actions. We are in control of what we do with our feelings. Sometimes the best thing to do when you are triggered is to say nothing, because we can't always think of the best, most calm, unbothered things to say when we're being triggered. So just don't say anything. Many times we don't realize this, but when we feel the need to respond when someone is hitting at one of our insecurities, it's our ego that's hurt. It's not us. We are not our ego. Our ego is that voice in our head that feels like we need to defend our honor and make sure that people see us the way that we deserve to be seen, and it will talk a big game. But ultimately, nothing bad happens when we don't defend our ego. Nothing bad happens when our ego is bruised. It just humbles us, honestly, and it reminds us that we don't need the whole world to treat us a certain way for us to feel okay. That's ultimately what weakens us as an individual, because we can't control what other people do. We can't control what other people say. So it would be so draining to constantly get reactive and riled up every single time someone touches on one of our insecurities. Instead, we can become aware of our insecurities, become aware of our triggers, and heal them so that we can become more unbothered and more free, no matter who we're dealing with. Step 4, accept that nothing lasts forever. This step is more geared towards the things that life throws our way that lasts longer than we want it to. For example, let's say we're working at a job and we know we have to commit for a certain amount of time, even though we really don't like it and we know it's not meant for us. In those types of situations where we have to commit to something, even though it makes us uncomfortable and it's chaotic, this is when you have to remind yourself that nothing lasts forever. And I know that we all know this. Nothing lasts forever. That is inevitable when it comes to life. But many times when we're going through hardship and we're going through a struggle, we forget and we exaggerate the discomfort that we feel, and we dwell in our negative emotions rather than utilizing what we have control over, which is how we react to our emotions, and allow the emotion to pass through us. For example, if you are working at a job that you hate, but you have to commit for 6 months before your dream job becomes available, allow yourself to feel sad, allow yourself to feel frustrated, but don't constantly think about how miserable you are every single day when you go to work. Don't leave work every day replaying all the negative experiences that you went through, because then you're just giving all your energy to an emotion that you don't really want to be feeling for so long. If I were in a situation like that, and I have been in situations like that, the only thing that helps me really make the most out of a shitty situation is by using as much of my energy as possible to focus on things that make me happy. If I really hate my job, then I will make sure the second I get out of work that I live my life to the fullest and I fill up my time with things that bring me so much joy. And that means I will not be thinking about work the second I leave, because thinking about work will not bring me joy. Many times we're all experiencing some sort of problems in one area of our life or another, but there's also many areas in our life that are running pretty smoothly. So focus on the areas that are going smoothly, pour into them, enjoy it as much as you can, and allow that to outweigh the problem that you're experiencing that seems to be lasting forever. When you do that, you'll be able to feel more unbothered because you're not so focused on it. And again, you're not avoiding something that's bringing you down. You've allowed the feeling to pass through you. You're choosing to not be bothered by something that you are not in control of. And that is ultimately your choice to make. Before I conclude this episode, I just want to say, perhaps you don't want to be unbothered. Perhaps you want to be frustrated. You want to be annoyed with certain things that are going on in your life. And honestly, when you catch yourself feeling that way, I believe it comes from suppression of that emotion in the past. Perhaps in the past you have not allowed yourself to just be fed up. You haven't allowed yourself to be annoyed and irritated for as long as you needed to before accepting something for what it is and moving on. So if that is how you're feeling, please, by all means, allow yourself to feel any negative emotion that surfaces. But once you reach that point of acceptance that you are not in control of certain things, take matters into your own hands and focus on what's within your control so that you can be a lot happier and unbothered. I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode. I honestly cannot believe that I'm recording this topic because I used to be so bothered by so much, honestly. I always cared a lot about what people thought about me, and I definitely cared a lot about things that were not in my control. I had a hard time accepting that there was so much in life that was not within my control, but I wasn't happy. It wasn't until I started surrendering a lot and trusting that I was able to become very unbothered with most things in life in a healthy way. And I honestly have never been happier. So I hope that this episode can help you get to this point as well. If you enjoyed this topic, please rate this podcast and share it with a friend or a family member, anyone that you think would benefit from this episode. I hope you have an amazing week. I love you all. This is the last episode of season 1. I want to just say thank you so much to each and every one of you that clicked on an episode. It means the world to me. I look forward to starting season 2. Until next time, bye for now.